Hello and welcome to episode 72 of the Your Next Chapter podcast. This is Angela Rasmus, your host. Now today I'm introducing you to a new type of podcast episode. This is an on-air business mentoring call. Now this is a scenario where I will be working specifically with a woman who has a next chapter business, and we're looking at a particular area where she needs growth, where she's stuck, where she's having a challenge and needs a fresh perspective. Now these calls will be happening probably about once a month with a volunteer from my community, and I will tell you how you can volunteer as well if you'd like to be considered for one of these calls. But to kick this off, we actually have a volunteer from within my own masterminds, the mastermind circles that I run with Next Chapter Women, and we have the gorgeous Liz Davidson, who is the founder, the creator of Our Kitchen Table. Now Liz and I have worked together. This is the second year that she's been in a mastermind, and at the beginning of 2017, this concept, this charity that was nestled in her heart seemed like this big idea that bringing it to life was such a challenge, and she wasn't sure if she could make it happen. But she has, and she's done phenomenal work, her and her team, in the last 12 months. But every business hits certain points where you need to take it to the next level. When you're looking at the way in which you're doing things and realizing that there is so much, often so much to get done, how do you prioritize? How do you focus? And we look very much here in this conversation at what I call umbrella goals. My absolute belief that you need to have 4, maybe 5 overarching themes for areas that you need to focus on and build in your business in any current year. And yes, there's other things that happen, but these really guide your progress, your focus, and your energy throughout the year. We also look at language, how important it is with the language that you're using with yourself and about the things you're looking to achieve, because self-belief and confidence, such essential building blocks. And sometimes you miss the importance of the language that you use to encourage yourself. We're also looking at how to reverse gap yourself, how to make better decisions so that you don't feel as though you're spread too thinly, how to, as I was saying, prioritize those goals. So many different pieces to help Liz take Our Kitchen Table to the next level. And I'm very grateful that she has given us the time to tap into this call that we did together, because I know that you will find some gems to help you with your own business growth as well. Sharing stories, eavesdropping on wholehearted conversations are such an important way for you to grow. So I know you'll appreciate this discussion. But I want to, before we start, give you some background on what Our Kitchen Table, which is Liz's venture, is all about. Now, Our Kitchen Table is located in Melbourne, in Australia, and it's a charitable organisation. Liz and her team are really dedicated. They empower and help people who are in need in the community. They create these gorgeous, heartfelt, handcrafted gifts for groups or individuals who are currently living in crisis, who need that bright spark, that lift again. Now, she really believes that these gifts that they create joy for the actual recipient, but also for the craft person, the women who are giving their time and to pour their love into these items. Now, she's got a real mission here about creating a movement that nourishes your soul, and she hopes that it's going to inspire others to spread these messages wider, to make a difference, to realize that every little bit counts. So she's really dedicated to empowerment and creating immediate and lasting change in the lives of those in need. So she has a tagline for Our Kitchen Table of create, connect, and community. And I want to read to you here her words of what they're looking to achieve with this charity. So number 1, we create a harmonious environment for participants to come together, to learn and to create beautiful gifts. Number 2, we allow participants to connect with others, to make new friends and collaborate with other organizations on projects. Number 3, we reach out to those in need by encouraging participation in our upskilling empowerment programs and by giving them heartfelt homemade products. Now, how can you help Liz and the pods and the people that she is creating her impact with? Well, they rely and are completely at this stage dependent on the kindness of financial or resource donation. So there's lots of ways in which you can get involved if this idea really resonates with you. You can contribute by donating resources like knitting wool, fabrics, general craft items, by giving a gift voucher in lieu of a present, or by hosting a lunch or a morning tea, just to name a few. And I know Liz and her brilliant team of volunteers would appreciate anything that you can do to help them further their cause. Now, they're currently developing a website, but in the meantime, I'll put these links on the podcast page as well. So it's angelarasmus.com/72. But if you go to Facebook and search for Our Kitchen Table Venture, you'll find out more about what Liz is doing. And as always, these stories that you hear and that we share, I hope they inspire possibility in you as well. And our conversation that Liz and I are having today, which really looks at how far she's come and what are the next steps she needs to take with that focus and that prioritization to grow her business. And as you're listening to this call, I want you to think, how could that idea apply to my business? How could I adopt that philosophy, or how could I adopt that strategy and then adapt it to suit my situation? Because obviously yours is just as unique as Liz's is. So again, really appreciate, Liz, you for allowing me to share this call. And if you would like to be considered for an on-air mentoring call, there will be a link on this page as well, but you can also go directly to my website, angelarasmus.com, and then /on-air-mentoring. And perhaps I'll be talking to you on this podcast really soon. So let's dive in and find out how Our Kitchen Table is going to be going to the next level in 2018. Inspiration, clarity, confidence, and wholehearted business strategy. Welcome to Your Next Chapter, the podcast especially for women in their 40s and beyond who know that business and personal development go hand in hand. Tune in each week for marketing, mindset, and personal growth strategies, along with inspiring stories from women around the world who are creating new businesses and lives that are personally fulfilling and financially rewarding. If you're looking to create a business and life you love, you're in great company. Let's find out what will unfold in your next chapter. I'm your host, Angela Rasmus, and I'm so delighted that you're here.
I know the date for this call. It's the 1st of March. That's easy for me to remember. And this is your first strategy call, your first personal mentoring call, so we can delve down into what's most important to you for this year. So my focus in this call is for you to get some clarity and prioritization. And so I very much believe, and we'll look at these next week at the retreat as well, so can't wait to see you, but that necessity of having that, or what I believe is important, to have those umbrella goals. So you're not like trying to do 100 things. You've got some really core things that are important for you this year that we then can look at. How do we achieve those? What are the strategies and the tactics and the actions that sit behind them? But also, what's the why behind them? Why are these things the ones you're going to focus on? Now, I'm not saying nothing else is going to happen during the year, but if you start with focusing on 20 things, then it ain't going to happen. You need to start with that more specific focus, because these are the things that are most important, either to you personally or the things that you've identified will make the biggest difference to Our Kitchen Table, that type of thing. So that's really my goal, for you to get off this phone and go, I can make this happen, or out of this car in this case, and make this happen. Obviously, the Mastermind is there to then support you through the development and the implementation, through the challenges and the, oh shit, what am I doing points and stuff like that. But we've got to start with this clarity at the beginning. So that's sort of my philosophy and goal for you. What's most important for you to get out of this call, Dana?
Okay, so first of all, I've started this year drowning. Okay. Behind the 8 ball before the year has even got to March. So whilst there were some fabulous achievements by the end of last year, and I'm so super proud of everything that we've already put together, the fact is that we're still a very, very small organisation, and not all of the, it hasn't all been set up. I mean, it's ripe and ready for further development in terms of teams, in terms of support staff. So that's a big thing for me. However, already this year I have put into place sewing teams with a sewing coordinator and pod coordinators for each of the different activities that we're doing. And I've had to make a couple of decisions because I just have not been able to keep up with everything. You know, I haven't been able to keep up with your Facebook page and your next chapter page. And as much as I would love to, I've been drowning in this. And this is, I'm working in it and not on it. And that's one of the things that I want to turn around and change, starting from today's call with you and further developing it for next week. And already this week, I've already turned down 2 things that I just don't see are going to be profitable for us, income earning, or it's going to be just more energy draining for me. And I've just had to say no and pull the plug on a team of people that were going to be doing something because it's just not going to work. So I don't want to have to say no too many times later on, but it needs to be that all the decisions really need to be directed and focused with a very clear outcome, a very clear wanted outcome.
You know, you sound like a businesswoman. With this language that you're using, you sound like a businesswoman. You go and play this back to you and you sound like a businesswoman, woman. But I'd like to make you do. I just want to make some reflections there for you because you know how I feel about language and how important it is, because you started off with saying, I've started this year drowning, I'm behind the 8 ball already, it's all out of control, I'm overwhelmed. And then a few, which sets up, you know, that actually puts that flight or fright.
Yes.
Or freeze. That puts that sort of state into you straight away. Now, as you actually talked a little bit further, you then said, and here's the powerful words, okay? I really want you to you might even realize the importance of these words. I'm so proud of what we've achieved in the last year, and it's so ripe and ready for further development. There it is, okay? There's the piece there. It's the story I wanted you to tell yourself is instead of, I'm so far behind, I'm drowning, I'm behind the 8 ball, instead, just put that story. Brené Brown calls them shitty first drafts. Okay? That's your shitty first draft. The story that we first tell ourselves is often just up here. It's the drowning story. It's the freaking out story. It's the in the moment, in the stress, spotlight on, etc. story. When you actually take a breath and reverse gap, where you came from last year was phenomenal. There is not a single person that I couldn't tell your story to who wouldn't go, holy shit, excuse my French, I'm in a bit of a sweary word, a bit of a swear bear today. But for you to then own that it's ripe and ready for further development. Okay, a couple of other pieces before we move on. I haven't been able to keep up with the Facebook book and Facebook page and group. There is no need to feel I've missed stuff there. The only important thing for you there in the Facebook group, like the Next Chapter Success Circle. That's the active paid group that you're in. So that one has the highest priority, okay? The purpose of that group is camaraderie, for you to post your goals, to support other people, to ask for the help that you need, okay? And I will post things in there. And if it's important, I will tag you, as in put this date in your diary, as in here's a good resource. Do not worry about my page. Do not worry about the Next Chapter group, the free one. Those are nice to get to, but the one where you will gain the benefit and also be helping others is the circle group. Okay, so even if you literally watch for the tags, but you also post your goals, and when I put in the reminder, you just go and let us know how you're going so that we can help you. That's the purpose. But don't feel like you need to keep up with everything because your head will explode. Yes. We don't want that.
Exactly.
Okay? And the last piece is that you were talking there about decisions. Okay, and about you don't want to say no too often. You've had to make some clear decisions. Yeah, you do, absolutely, and it's great that you're recognizing that. So the decisions that you make, think of it like this. Okay, when an opportunity or a request is in front of me, does this move me towards the development of our kitchen table? Does it move me away, or does it move me sideways? Okay, because if it moves you towards, fantastic, you can say yes. If it's taking you sideways or backwards, then you are absolutely serving yourself and your vision to say, no, thank you. You can say no nicely. You can say, I don't have space for that at this time, but I really appreciate you asking. Like, you can say it with grace, okay? Because you've got to remember, if you say yes to everything, then your vision and your utter service that you're so focused on, it doesn't get you focused. I know it's not easy, but you can say no. And the other one is you touched on. Does it energize me or does it drain me? So just run through that in your head. And you can only make those decisions when you're clear on what are my key goals for this year. So if you're not clear on what they are, then every opportunity looks like an opportunity when it actually might not be. It might be a backward or a sideways step. So what are those big umbrella things that you really want to happen? If you got to the end of the year and you had made progress on these 3, 4, 5 things, what would they be, Don?
Okay, look, before I do anything, I have to have a business model. A business model that is going to be our pro forma guidelines that will set us on the right page.
Mm-hmm.
I need to have a timetable of the products that we're making, when we have to have them ready by, and how many we're making, and very clearly who we're making them for. I've got more than 3.
No, you keep going, and then I shall slash them.
All right. I want to have it up and ready. An empowerment program for women that are living in safe houses that needs to be up and ready, and we would have run some of them during the year. By the end of the year.
Yep.
I want to have a core list of strong funders for us.
Yep.
And I want to be able, and if it's not me, it's got to be somebody else, but I want to be able to have a number of people that I can call on to say, before you're ready to put your budgets together, have you thought about contributing to our kitchen table, like companies? And approaching different businesses that would like to align themselves with us so that we can, A, maybe collaborate, or B, just use each other for different things in a nice way. I don't mean use each other, but work together.
Collaborate, that's fine.
Collaborate.
Yep.
And I want to have, by the end of the year, well, it needs to be well before the end of the year, but established a very solid, secure staff base that are supportive and that work well.
Okay, well, you've actually only got 5 there because 4 and 5 are the same thing. Okay, so essentially... One was about money and the other one was about support staff. What did I put before? Okay, so you've got, I need a clear business model with pro forma guidelines for our kitchen table, number 1. I need a timetable of products, who they're for, what they are, when they're needed. Number 3, I want to develop and deliver an empowerment program for women in safe houses. Now, number 4 and 5. Number 4, you said a core list of strong funders. And number 5, you said a number of people I can call on to fund us, to put us in their budgets.
No. I meant staff. I want staff in place.
Oh, that was the last one. Establish a solid, secure staff base of volunteers.
Yes.
Yeah, so there was 2 there that you said about having a core list of strong funders, and you want a number of people I can call on to say before you put your budget. Yeah, so we've got 5. So we've got 5. So we're good. 5's not too many. You can focus on 5. Okay, so if you were going to prioritize which of those are most important, which one would you start with if you had to put those in an order, or do they sit side by side?
Yes, side by side. All of them are just as important.
Then that means if you're thinking about calendar blocking, as an example, then you, in terms of being able to not context change all the time, if you've got 5 days in a week, how many of those days do you want to spend in and on the business versus the rest of your life?
Three days working on it, but then there are 2 days that I'm in it.
Okay, is that reasonable to say that this is going to be in your life 5 days a week?
No,
it's not. So don't say that. Here's a decision. Here's a decision right now. What energizes you? What drains you? So This is your project. It grows at the speed that you grow it with assistance. Okay, and my feeling for you is that this is very much a purpose-driven love project, right? It's such a passion thing for you. the passion will be compromised if it is the only thing in your life. As in, if you have to work on this 5 days a week, pretty soon you'll want to probably throttle someone. So let's be realistic.
Yeah, when it's only March.
Exactly. So let's be realistic.
What was that statement before? That was really good. My passion will be compromised.
It'll be compromised. If, like, this is an expression that I sort of came up the other day when I was doing some copywriting. You want a business or a cause, doesn't matter which one it is, but a business that complements your life. It doesn't command it. Okay? So you have a life. You have a beautiful life with an awesome partner and gorgeous children and desires for travel and other things and wellness and fitness and other things that are not our kitchen table. So our kitchen table needs to complement your life, not command it. So you sitting here in the car and say, I'm going to spend 5 days a week on it, you know, my bells go, ding, 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 ding. So let's be real.
That's your New Zealand accent. I heard my bells will go ding, ding, ding. My bells.
Yeah, sorry. Well, it's actually 30 years today ago that I came to Australia. I came on my 19th birthday. I do.
Oh, that's divine. Gorgeous.
So I'm trying to get rid of the accent, but it's obviously hangs around a bit after 30 years. Yeah, the land of the long flat vowel. So let's be realistic. Let's be realistic. Yeah. What is if you thought about the time you spend on it, what would make you go, that feels better?
Okay, blocks. So I could do definitely Monday. Okay. Monday's a good development day. Mm-hmm. Tuesday afternoon.
Yep.
And Thursday afternoon.
Okay, so these are the times when you've got to actually work on the business. Would that be correct?
Yes.
Okay. So what we've just changed that to very reasonably now. There's 2 days on. Okay, now talk about in.
So there's a very large pod on a Wednesday afternoon that I must go to.
Okay.
And Friday afternoon I have to be hands-on at the school because we've got a sewing and activity running together, and there's just too many kids for the one person. So I'm there with one of the sewing teachers.
Okay, so looking at that then.
But that's not allowing for, in future, the next one that's going to be starting, which is in the safe house. So that will probably be a Tuesday morning or a Wednesday morning.
So here's why this then brings into operation straight away, helps you prioritize one of the things that needs to happen is establishing a solid, secure staff base of volunteers. Because if we could take you out of the hands-on, and I'm not saying completely because you want to keep a little bit of hands-on, but if we could find somebody that could replace you on a Friday afternoon, then suddenly you've got 1 day a week to yourself.
Yeah.
Completely. And I really think that's incredibly important. Yeah, I really think that's very important.
I've tried, and it's really hard already just to get these women to come in on a Friday afternoon because we all have big dinners on a Friday afternoon, and it's a crazy time. So why is that event happening on a Friday afternoon if it doesn't serve you? Because it's right, because it's a school program. It's for the whole year level. The whole year level is broken up into different groups, and we are one of the groups.
Okay, and how long are you committed to that one for?
For the year.
Yep.
But it goes by term, so there will be school holidays and there will be breaks, obviously.
Okay. And what's actually happening with that one? How does it contribute to the business, to the charity?
Oh, because they're making for us. We're teaching the kids how to sew on sewing machines, and they're making things for us.
Okay. Okay, quick question. At the moment, how do you get your staff? How do you get your volunteers?
Look, it's word of mouth, but also Facebook. Everything has come from Facebook.
Okay. How many volunteers do you have now, and how many do you need?
It's not the amount, it's what they can do.
Yeah.
We've got about 60. They don't commit every week. They come when they can. But we've got a core group of probably about 15 that are just really unbelievable women. Just fantastic, fantastic women. Maybe between 15 and 20. They are really amazing, amazing women. So lucky to have them on board.
Okay. Is there any sort of a roster, any sort of, how do you communicate when and where and how people will be and how they can volunteer?
I've set up a WhatsApp group with each of the little groups, and I've put a coordinator in charge of each of those groups that isn't me. And I've asked them to put a timetable together.
Look at you delegating all over the place.
Well, I have to because it's killing me otherwise.
Yeah.
And they really, look, the girls who are coordinating really enjoy that role. They're getting a lot of joy out of it. We're starting a new group. I didn't say, Thursday afternoon. So every second week we're starting a new group with highly functional disabled adults.
Yep.
Because they're this particular area where one of our volunteers works she has clients that she looks after there. She has encouraged us to become involved with them, and in order for us to move to the next level of association, we need to be able to achieve DGR status, which will put us in a much better position to be able to go to companies and businesses and say, donate some money towards us and we can give you a receipt. You can write it off.
Okay, and how do you get to DGR status?
Well, we need to have direct hands-on work with the particular people. We need to differentiate between a group of mums getting together to have a sewing hobby, hobby of sewing, as opposed to actually going in and making a difference at places. So that's why I've got the school. I've got, we're going to be starting in the Safe House. We're going to be working with these disabled adults. So that's different to just being within our own homes working. Okay,
so that DGR status needs to go into a part of those core goals for the year.
Yes.
Okay, because that's a vital part of it. So
that's number 7.
6. No, 6. I only got 6.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Another question: do you have, and we touched on this lightly last year, like an organisational chart? Now, by that I mean it's not like she's the boss and she's this, but actual who you've got where, and so that you can see where the gaps are. Have you actually drawn one out?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic.
I've been working on the organisational chart and there are very clear gaps, yes. I've made a mind map of it. And those people, there is one amazing woman who I thought was going to be on board with me this year, but long story short, her husband has now retired, which means she needs to work more. And so she was going to give me 2 days a week as a volunteer, and she runs another charity. So is completely familiar with how and what and who and how to get all of these things up and running. But I can only get her 1/10 of her week.
A question. I need to insert a question there. Because and you and I both know I'm not an expert in running charities, okay? I am your sounding board and I will come in with a perspective that you don't necessarily have, which is what's most helpful, keep you buoyant, all of that sort of stuff. That is my purpose. But you will come across people who are like experts in their fields, okay? That person being an example. Now, you could have, there's a couple of options here when you come across people like that, is that you could ask them to be a part of your personal advisory board.
Yeah.
Okay. Or you could ask her or you could ask her for a brainstorm day. Okay. Here's the goals that I've identified and which ones could you in your own experience impact upon? With just giving me some advice. So there's a couple of choices that you got there.
Yeah, that's a really, really good idea. I've already got maybe 3 people in that capacity that we get together every now and then to just run some ideas past. So
So you could formalize that a little, right? They can be your personal advisory board, and you meet quarterly, like once every 12 weeks. You have a working lunch with a couple of hours or whatever. You've got your cascade plan, you've got your goals, and you're looking for where they might be able to connect or assist. And that's their contribution. How can you connect, advise, or assist? But you're not asking them to give you all their time, because for various reasons they don't. So that personal advisory board will help you with these other pieces, because everyone knows someone who knows someone. It's that 6 degrees of separation. So just put that as a little separate aside, because when you lose the opportunity to have somebody like her because of circumstance, you don't want to let them go entirely.
That's right.
So your personal advisory board, and you're letting them know, I value your experience, your insight, your opinion, but I recognize and appreciate you have a busy life.
God, you said that so well.
You inspire me. See, I'm in flow. I would really appreciate this, and tell them what you want. Say, I'm looking for 4 wonderful women to be on that personal advisory board, and we'll meet once a quarter for 3 hours. Are you in? I'll feed you, I'll water you, I'll take care of you, and I'll just ask, because that will just give you that solid. And the reason I'm familiar with this is in my other mastermind, the Diamond Mastermind, there's a woman in there who very strong HR background, but is now just being trained to facilitate advisory boards, and we've been talking about what's happening there and what's going on, and that's just a very, very simple version of it. But so coming back to your organizational chart, and you can see where the clear gaps are at the moment, because, so we've got the goal, needing to be specific about that goal, because you're looking at, how are you growing? So you've got to work out which one goes in which order. Remember, this grows at your pace, not at was just got to grow and become huge overnight. It grows at your pace. So understanding how many staff you need, talking volunteers, is determined and connected to the growth that you want to make happen. The growth that you want to make happen is then connected to, so how many items do we need to produce, by what, for who, and where? So you've got to get a little more specific on those to be able to determine who do I need. Okay, so everything's tied.
It's not so much the people that come in. We don't have any shortage of people that are coming in to make things. It's the people that can organise and run groups.
Okay.
That's what I need, those people. And those people that maybe can help me on an admin basis. And somebody who can be maybe doing fundraising. And the thing is with volunteers, people do things when they can. And they're it depends on their age. There might be grandchildren, there might be babies, there might be, pick-up times, all sorts of things that come into play here. So
yes,
they're not always going to be available when I need them.
No, so you've got 2 pools of resources. So at the moment, the way that you've got the other people is by word of mouth and by Facebook. Okay, so word of mouth, people have connected you with people, right? So it's coming in that way, correct? You haven't gone out in the other direction for the word of mouth. Okay. Right. The second one, Facebook, is most likely to connect with people who have got a bit of time to volunteer. Okay.
Right.
But the people that have come into your circle, into your circle of influence, who can be a leader, a coordinator, or a fundraiser, and you've got, a small number of those, where have they come from that you can see a difference? So did you get like a leader from a Facebook post?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Then the next level that we want to take it to is, how else can I get these leaders? Okay, one of the things that I would definitely encourage you to look at, this is one of the tactics, is to get some media coverage. Okay, so and very much from the perspective of this is what we're doing, this is why we're doing it, this is what we need. Profiling the goodness that you're doing in the world, but also highlighting the gaps. Now, I know this is scary for you. Pardon?
Do I have to
talk? You are the passion behind the purpose. You do have to talk. And I tell you what, this is the whole thing of, remember the whole concept that the actions of confidence come first and the feelings of confidence come later. If you sat here and went like, piece of cake, yep, bring it on, I'd be surprised. There's not a single person I've ever spoken to that I've said you need to drum up some visibility that's ever gone, oh, that's awesome. They all go, do I have to? But for you to be able to...
Can I just rewind a bit? The
Sure.
action confidence come first.
And the feelings of confidence come later.
Now, how do you get that out? So just do it. So you're saying just do it.
Yep.
Okay, so the other day...
The fear won't go away, right? The fear will not go away. It will always be there when you are doing something new or stretching to a new level. It's not unique to Liz. It is inbuilt in every single one of us. But if we allow the fear to dictate, then you won't get what you want.
No, that's exactly right. So I had this moment with my daughter in America the other day. And I said to her, I was feeling very vulnerable and just, what am I doing moment? And I said, I cannot believe what I've got myself into. I can't do this. This is just too hard. I just can't manage this. I need to take this to the next level, and I don't have what it takes to be able to do that. And she laughed at me. And she said, of course you do. That's just crazy. And she said, so we broke it down, and she said, oh, for God's sake, you've got to just jump in and do it. And this is my 31-year-old cheerleader who has done amazing. She's just done a presentation at the Smithsonian Institute in Washington of the new Cowboys, the cheerleaders up there, and has just done an amazing job. So there is some essence in that of the just do it and the create the action, but you promised me the emotions come in next, and the little thing that says, oh, okay, maybe you can do it.
Well, yes, because without that frisson, without that friction, it means you don't care. It doesn't matter. Like, it's you only feel fear around something that matters. And this whole project, this whole charity, this whole vision matters so much to you. It's you connecting to the women in those safe houses. That's who you're doing it for. You are the vehicle. But the reason behind it, so it's that, I'm not saying it's that takes away the fear, but it justifies your taking action in fear because there's a bigger purpose here. You're making a difference. So I'm a big believer in the fact that the idea does not exist. It can't come into existence without the actual thing that can make it come true. I didn't express that very well. Okay, you can't have the idea if the means to embody it doesn't exist. So you would not have had the idea for our kitchen table. It would not have been given to you if the universe didn't think you could frickin' do it. Okay, it would have been given to someone else. Okay, and the idea is not given to someone that is arrogant, to someone who is ego-driven. It's like given to somebody with a huge heart who wants to make a difference, who trembles when it comes to sharing that because it's scary, it's vulnerable, it's at your heart, it's at your core. But it's yours. Okay, and the ripple that you send out impacts so many people. Every one of those volunteers, you just said before, gets so much out of it. Every one of those kids, the teachers, the disabled adults you're going to work with, the women and there's just so many people that you impact, darling. So I'm going to hold your hand and help you step forward and put the story further. Okay, because as I said,
deliver it for me.
No, I can't do that because if I do it for you, then you don't grow. Okay, I push you forward, but you can do it, and you have spoken on a radio show, you have spoken at your celebration event, you have spoken, okay, and you're still alive.
Yeah.
No heart attacks happening there, but getting that word out. So at the moment you've been quite receptive, okay, but you need to, I believe, if you want to fill those positions with people who are as passionate as you have to involve them in the story and inspire them to step forward. Okay, so that's one of your pieces of homework is what are my next steps there? Who will I contact? And that can be local newspapers, local radio. It can be becoming, getting interviewed by people on podcasts. You do some homework there and see where are the vehicles that will reach my audience. And your audience is a local audience. I'll give you another example. At our yacht club here, in which we belong to, every month they have a women's lunch. And every month there's an inspiring person speaking there about the difference they're making in the world. I know you don't have our yacht club around the corner, but I bet you if you do a little bit of research on that Monday, which you've now put aside as your development day, you will find places where you'll have the opportunity to share what it is that you do and what it is that you're looking for, without a doubt. So, and the thing is, when you do that, when you commit to becoming visible and speak about what you need, it doesn't just have staff. That's where you attract funders, and when you attract people who can provide materials. So they all come together.
So all of those goals will be addressed.
Yes. Now there's another strategy that we can do for the fundraising, which is, direct contact, where you actually identify who is it that we could contact. Who do I think is, if I was making a hit list of the 20 businesses most likely to respond, at this horizon of our kitchen table, you couldn't go to Telstra today, okay? Because you're still new, relatively speaking. Okay, yeah. Telstra might be something that happens. I'm just giving that as an example. That might be a 3-year goal. But in terms of now, with the footprint that the business has or the charity has, which is that local, Melbourne focus, who's on my hit list? Or I can't
really, but I don't think I can really even go to companies yet until I have that next level of association.
Perfect. So this is where you're now timelining yourself, okay? So your first cascade plan, you're not focusing on securing funding from organisations. In your first cascade plan, you're focusing on, or maybe your first and second, I don't know how long the process takes, but you're focusing on getting DGR status. So this is where you look at your goals and go, okay, how are they timelined during the year? DGR comes up front, working out.
Yeah.
Because you can't go after number 4 until you've got DGR. Okay?
Right.
But the business model, it seems like you've actually got one already.
Have I? How?
It sounds like it. It sounds like, okay, so we have these pods that work at this level, and then we've got them producing products here which go to here. It's like the overall business model, which is involving volunteers, bringing in materials, making the product, and then distribution. Like, the model's there. It's
really?
Let's draw it out. Like, we've got pods. Pardon? We got pods at this level. The actual what it is that you're doing, again, if you just drew it out on a page, there's a model there. The model is, at the end, we spit out a product that's distributed to here. And here's how we produce it. Now, you've got a model.
I thought it was a lot more complicated than that.
Oh, shit, no. And that's the problem. I think everyone complicates everything. But all you're doing on top of that is that your model then diversifies slightly, or it brings in another level. So you want to bring an empowerment course in. So that becomes another piece of the model. But the model is not complicated, and I think it's best that you keep it simple. So I'd love you to draw it out, to bring it along next week, and just say, here you go, here's my model on a page. What do you think? There you go. Let's just give you an example. My model is very, very simple as well. Okay, visibility is, you will find me via Facebook or via LinkedIn, or via a recommendation. You'll find my page, whatever. You find me. Okay? And then I invite you to get involved with me by giving you some sort of an experience or a resource. Okay? And then I'm in some type of relationship with you. We have a conversation. You become a client. It's a very simple model. I don't have lots of layers. I've introduced another layer that'll start in April, the business club. But the other layers, it's just you come into a mastermind. It's not a lot else.
Sorry, what's the business club?
The business club is that lower level. Remember the one you're going to probably give to your friend once I start it? So it's it's not like the mastermind like we have, because there's no personal strategy, there's no retreat, there's a monthly group call, there's access to resources and to come to the training calls. But so it gives you a level of support at an accessible price point until you are ready to step up into a mastermind, or until you've been in a mastermind for 3 years, like a lot of women are, 3-4 years, and then you say, okay, I want to I don't need that hand holding. So you'll either go down into the business club because you don't want to let go completely because we're all in love with each other, or you'll go, I'm ready for the next stage, and you'll come up into a diamond. So right. simple model. I don't complicate it. Right. So I don't think we need to complicate it. But any business model needs, or any business or charity needs visibility. So that's the other piece that we're talking about. So that idea of getting the message out, that is going to be one of your key goals for the year. It's raising the visibility past where it is now. You've already done a great job, but now it's time to reach it higher so that you can attract, and the purpose of that is so that you can attract the funding, the volunteers, and the materials that you need to keep the engine moving. Yeah? But when you're looking at that business model, it's how big do you want to grow it to? And that is as simple as, are we just delivering our products to one safe house or to 10 safe houses or somewhere in between? And if deciding on where I want to deliver, that then influences, well, how many pods do I need? How many people do I need? So, but it's still the same business model. It's just changes in size. And it is vital that you don't overstretch. Like I'm one for big visions, right? Don't get me wrong. But a vision should stretch you, not snap you. Okay? It should energize, not sap you. Okay? And when we started talking just, 45 minutes ago, you were like, holy shit. So don't try and grow it too quickly without the resources. You need the resources to grow. You don't grow and then get the resources.
That's right.
Yeah, because that's when you get stretched and snapped. Okay.
Is it 45 minutes already?
Yeah, time flies when you're having fun.
Ridiculous. Can I just ask you two little questions?
Yeah, of course.
Your desk calendar wisdom is fabulous. What desk calendar is that?
That. Oh, I love that.
So motivating.
That's it.
Today's going to be a great day. That's it.
That's it. And I don't always post them because I forget. Look, I've kept them all from last year, the ones that I really liked.
I do that too. I do the Louise Hay one that I had last year. I just keep all of those for vision boards. And the other thing is, have I missed out on any podcasts here?
Have you missed out on any what? Sorry,
Have I missed out on any podcasts this year?
No, first one comes out next week.
Ah, okay.
I had a break. I needed a break. So,
you needed it.
Yeah, I really, really did. So the first one's next week. So we know DGR status is essential. Okay, we know visibility is very important. You've already got a business model. From the model, you need to timetable your products, and that depending on how many safe houses you're going to support. So you need to reverse it. Okay, if this is what I want to do, realistically, then you work backwards. And then you can set a timetable from there. I won't try and help you set up the timetable because you need to look at that and work out how that's going to work. But if we focus on that visibility piece, that's about storytelling, and that's about, okay, where could I share this? We're starting to look for where can I share the story. But you've got that other piece that's in there as well, which is the empowerment program. Okay, because we're talking, your strong funders, people to actually fund, that comes after DGR, that comes after you finding, what's my hit list. So we've talked about visibility. Let's talk about the empowerment program. Does that sound fair?
Yep.
Okay. So talk to me about it. What is it? Why is it important?
It's important because there are a variety of people, women, that are coming into these refuges that are broken. They're absolutely broken. So they're physically, some of them could be physically broken, some of them could be emotionally and physically broken. So I want to put a team of people together that will go in and run a workshop on empowerment. So one will be in terms of improving computer literacy. One will be in terms of financial literacy. One woman will go in and teach them about how to put a resume together. One woman will go in, who's a psychologist, will talk about journaling and the power of journaling and being mindful, mindfulness activation. Another person will talk about, will go in and practice yoga with them. So all building, so in preparation for when they leave. So they can start rebuilding their lives with a positive outlook and with just upskilling.
Okay, so the safe house, so just I love it. The safe house is where the women are now. So 2 questions. To come back to the business model, how many safe houses are you contributing to? Are you associated with? Are you a part of?
Well, there's 2 parts to that. One, we're associated with Impact for Women, which provides hampers at Mother's Day and Christmas, and those hampers will go to 1,000 women in metropolitan Melbourne. The safe house that I am going to look at starting this particular program with, and that we're also starting a pod in there, is only one place. That's only one safe house, and we'll be trialling our program there. Okay. Some of the safe houses around Melbourne do have government assistance, and they have some similar sorts of things that are in place. I'm not quite sure. I need to do the research and just find out what the government is providing, because they don't have enough money to be able to do this for all of the safe houses. But this particular one, they don't have anything like that. So I have volunteers that will be coming in to do it.
Awesome. Okay, so our kitchen table as a whole, when you're looking at all of the pods and the volunteers and the products, etc., whether they're made by the high-functioning disabled adults or by the school kids or by the people around a kitchen table, etc., they all funnel down into the Impact for Women program and this particular safe house.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm coming back to the empowerment program, but there is where you work out your numbers backwards, your timetable, when. Well, they've got to be ready for Mother's Day and they've got to be ready for Christmas. So you work back from there and deciding what is your contribution there, what are the numbers, okay, and then you work back from there. The safe house is another one. How many women come through it? Do we want to make sure that some of the items are available for every woman when they arrive? So what does that look like in terms of the numbers that I need to create? Okay, externally, yes, you're going to create a pod within the safe house, which also tapping into their creativity can be a part of your program. Okay, so it's because discovering that you can actually create something that helps another person as well, that empowers you. So I'd look at that pod as being a part of your program, possibly. It's an aspect of it, as opposed to it separating. They might work together. But anyhow, does that make sense? You look puzzled.
Yes, say that again.
Okay, so you're looking at bringing a pod into the safe house, the one that you're talking about, totally separate to Impact for Women.
To teach them how to sew, but they also want to make things to give to other people.
Exactly. So that part is a part of your empowerment program.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's not a separate thing. So a pod is part of it. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm assuming that you've spoken to, obviously the people who run the safe house and talked about the empowerment program, because they don't get the government assistance to be able to do the thing. So that's where the pilot program is going to run, correct?
Right.
Awesome. How long is the typical stay for a woman in a safe house?
6 to 8 weeks.
Okay. So if you're thinking about this program, is it logical, and logical is the wrong word, is it feasible, is it sensible to say, okay, if she's there for 6 to 8 weeks, the first week she's sort of like getting it together because she just escaped a horrible scenario. The last week she's sort of focused on leaving, so it's the middle weeks where the empowerment program should run?
I don't think we can do it quite like that, because we don't know at what level of pain that they're going to be in. If they're in, like, they've just run away from home. Yes. And they've got their kids and they just want to feel safe. So the first thing that happens to them is that they have a health check, and the kids have a health check, and then that's dealt with. I don't think that they will be ready at that point to start learning new things. I think that's really about healing. So we've worked out that whoever has been in this particular house will be invited to come back to the workshop wherever they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Now, so when you've been thinking about how it's going to run, are you looking at that it's going to run constantly, it's going to recycle? How do you see it actually working, and where will it be?
It will be there, and it will probably have, 5 to 6 components, depending on the specialty areas. And we will run those maybe once a month.
So it's like a workshop day. That's what you're thinking?
Yeah. Well, maybe no, just for a couple of hours, because they'll have little kids, and they'll have other things that they have to do as well, because they have to, in the time that they are a resident, they need to get unemployment benefits or get a job and get a place to live. So that's to all be set up. Before they leave. But in addition, they've got to have the confidence to be able to get up and go and do those things. So
I'm wondering whether or not, just an idea that's sitting in my head, and I understand that it's a healing time. So when you're healing in that situation, possibly the thing that is most important is the self-worth piece, and the clarity and the self-worth piece. So would it be possible, for argument's sake, again, this is just floating ideas, there's like a phase 1 and a phase 2. Is it possible there could be a phase 1, which is actually something that happens that's available whilst you're in the house? So someone could come,
and that's about the journaling and the yoga.
Yes, that part. And that happens. And then there's phase 2, which is the more, you'd have to look through and at the different pieces, the IT literacy, the financial literacy, and that other sort of stuff might happen in phase 2. So so perhaps, and maybe weekly is too much, maybe it's, once a fortnight that there is phase 1, and it's literally a 90-minute workshop that's in there that any woman who is in their 6-week stay at the Safe House can come and experience. Now, but obviously you need to work in with the women who are running the Safe House to make sure that we're not doubling up, etc. So, and they sort of had that first experience, and then they are given just a simple flyer or whatever that says that phase 2 is going to be running, and you are most welcome to come back and join it. So that you deal with that healing part first, and then when the heart, obviously it takes a lot longer than 6 weeks to heal, but when, it's not ripped apart, then you can turn your attention towards the more practical side. Does that feel right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So it's like the split between the heart and the head.
Yes.
Deal with the heart, then we'll deal with the head.
Yes.
So phase 1, so 90 minutes whilst you're first there, and then, it could be 2 or 3 hours next. Yep. And is it, I'm wondering, I don't know what DGR status gives you, but how cool would it be, for example, if you had some sort of supporter, and this is where some of your supporters could come from, which would be different from what you envisage now, who might have a resume, like an HR resume sort of company, who become supporters, and these women can go to them when they're ready and get their resume done.
Be brilliant. Well, I have a girl on board who runs a resume business. She puts her hand up for anything I ask her for. She's just amazing. But she's not a staffing agency. She just helps. She runs a business where she writes the resume for people. But she is really happy to come in and teach these women how to do it. Okay.
So start doing a little bit of a brainstorm as to what the pieces might be, but it feels like a phase 1, phase 2, and a phase 3. It feels like there's something, as in, okay, I've been through the heart part, you take me through the head part, now there's these additional things that I can, connect with. There may be a phase 3, as I'm saying, that they get a resume done, or maybe you have a reunion, like a follow-up later. But how might those pieces look?
I think phase 3, like we have I've just appointed an ambassador, which is Kelly Carter Bell, who gave a very heartbreaking presentation at our launch, and she is a survivor of many, many, many years of domestic abuse, and for her, a lot of this healing comes from every time she tells her story.
Yeah.
So phase 3 could be about her teaching these people how to share your story, how to share your story with others to empower other people. I mean, maybe some of them might want to give back in that way.
I think you've just come up with actually 4 phases now. Phase 1 is the heart, which is the healing. And it's the meditation, the mindfulness, the journaling, etc. Phase 2 is the creativity and contribution, which is when they actually participate in a pod. Because we know that when you give back, that heals you as well. So it's like there's 2 pieces there. But that's where we're bringing your creativity and your contribution. And phase 3 is the head, which is the how do you get a resume, the practical stuff. And then phase 4 is it's I don't want to say beyond the hurt, but it's like you're into the next phase of your life, and it's there where you share the story.
Mm.
So maybe that. So just play with that. See what comes through, because the actual creation of this is not that hard.
No.
And there's a diagram that I'll show you guys next week about when you're creating a program. Something that I learned with some training I did a couple of years ago, and it's about the understanding, explaining to people what it is they're going to learn, why it's important, and then how they learn it. It's like that you actually put behind each piece, which just gives it substance. But the actual creation of this is not that hard. But you need to look at your big picture. Where am I going to fit this in? So if you're working on the business on a Monday, okay, there may be, that there are in this next 3-month period, because this is really important to you to get into the safe house as soon as you can, that half of that Monday is spent on developing the empowerment program. The other half of that Monday is focused on DGR status and visibility. So like this is how you do the calendar blocking. So you sit down on a Monday and you go, right, what are the most important tasks that I am going to do today that will advance the DGR status? And you need to get together the tactics for that, because I don't know everything that's involved. Then number 2, okay, I've done my 2 hours on that. Now my focus is I'm switching to developing the empowerment program. What am I going to do for that? And you've got it mapped out. How do you want it to look? How do you need to bring it to life? Okay, that's a project. I use the cascade plan for projects as well, as opposed to a whole quarter. Because like, what is it? What are the goals? What are the pieces? You can use it that way. So that's how you calendar block. So you're not switching context between things. It's like, bang, I'm working on empowerment today. Everything else has to wait. Bang, I'm working in a pod today. That's how you get stuff done when you divide it up like that. Does that feel right?
Yes, it does. But at the moment, I'm using my own sort of goal setting per day, where I've got my A, B, and C list. And I strive to get all the A's done. I have to get all those A's done. Otherwise, I don't sleep well that night, but then they just get moved to the next day. So one of the things that is real is, this is the goal smuggling thing. If you start with a list that everything is chucked on, you will never, ever complete the list, because the list keeps getting filled up. Right? But no, I only put 5 or 6 things at the very most on the A's, and everything else is on my to-do list, which is somewhere else. But these are the really important things that have to be done today.
Then when you're dividing up your day, and I'm conscious I have to take off in a sec, but just to finish with this, when you're dividing up your day, perhaps the first hour is the bits and pieces, stuff that can get done in like 5-10 minutes. Make that phone call, send that email, the bits and pieces. It might be at the start of the day, it might be in the middle of the day, it might be towards the end of the day. You decide where your energy is best. But, I had one of those incredibly productive days yesterday. It was mapped out. These were the chunks. There were 3 very different things I had to work on. One was retreat content. One was sponsorship proposals for my husband's Flagstaff business. And one was a particular project for my consulting client. Okay. All the bits and pieces I did after I'd picked up Charlotte and been to the gym. But those three content chunks in the day were done. I've still got some more retreat stuff to do, but that's fine. But I wasn't trying to switch between lots of different things. I'll talk about this more next week, but when we try and switch all the time between things, then we take away, we nibble at the edges of our project time. And if you nibble at the edges, you'll never get momentum and traction.
That's right.
If you spent a whole day, just for example, on the empowerment plan, can you imagine how much you'd get done?
Yeah, I know.
So, and I know there's noise. There will always be noise. But remember, you're going to start making those decisions that move you towards rather than away or sideways. You're going to start making those decisions that energize rather than drain, because focus and then streamlining, as I said to you guys, cutting your focus down, which you've done. You've got 5 core things. And then from there, prioritizing. Right? You know, if something comes up, remember I've got like this box here. I have that box. So when I have bright ideas, they literally go on the box. Because if I try, and I caught myself so many times yesterday, I could just do, Angela, you're writing a sponsorship proposal. That can wait. Yeah. And literally, it's like I have to talk like a toddler. Oh, but I want to play. Angela. And it works. The proposals are done. Yeah, the proposals are done. So I had one last thing I needed to leave with you. Now, this is one of those in the box things, okay? But it just hit me as we were talking. You've got some amazing people that do amazing things for you, okay? I would, and this is just a suggestion, approach a local florist, okay? Ask them to become a partner. Tell them how you will promote and support them, and that will be done in your newsletter, that they're one of your partners, on your Facebook page, on your website, whatever. And say, what I need in return is, and you work it out, but I'd say 4 bouquets a month that I can use to reward and thank people who are making a difference at our kitchen table.
Wow. What, and not pay for them?
Not pay for them. That's what I'm saying.
How do I do that?
I'll give you an example of a sponsorship proposal. But I did it when I was at my network, like when I ran the Women's Business Network. So that was it. It was like, we want to partner. We are a charity. We want to partner with an organization that we can do a reciprocal arrangement where we promote you actively as our floral supporter, our floral partner, whatever. And that means, content on our website. It means that you're in our newsletter and we hot link through to your website. It means that we take photos of the bouquets that you create and we actively encourage our members and supporters to order from you. Okay, we are a charity. We're not for profit. I cannot give you I cannot purchase the bouquets, but here's how and why I need them. And you may have to ask 5 florists until one says sure. But you'll hit one. You will get one. And imagine if you had the ability to gift 4 bouquets a month to people that make a difference. That would just be a gorgeous thing.
Love that idea. Woo!
Okay, so there was a lot in here. Your recording will go into your own Dropbox. The 3 personal sessions you have this year will be in your own Dropbox. But take some time now to go and flesh out those bigger ideas. You see the 5 goals that you've got? 2 of them go to one side initially. You've already got one of them, the business model. You just have to flesh it out. Okay, and the other one, the timetable, well, that comes from, okay, I know there is the impact for women, and I know there's a safe house, so I can work backwards as to how many things we've got to produce. I'm not going to just create pods for the sake of it. Okay, I am creating them to get DGR status and to fulfill the demands of those 2 commitments that you've made. Okay, and then you start thinking about visibility. Okay, where's a list of medias? You got to do some online research. Where could I get interviews? Where can I talk about this so that I can attract funders and volunteers? It's not complicated. I mean, it's simple, but it's not complicated when you actually lay it out and simplify it like that. And then get some flowers on the side just for the hell of it.
You know, for somebody who has no idea about how to run a charity, you do pretty good.
We're pretty awesome. We're a pretty awesome team, aren't we?
You're amazing.
Okay, my darling. Well, so are you, to do this stuff, this work that you do. It's like what you're doing, and I never want you to lose sight of the impact that you're making. You know, don't lose sight of that, and use that, as you do now, to help you to take your vision and impact and your fear, one in each hand, and introduce them to each other. Okay, introduce them to each other, and so your fear will go, oh. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, that's a good cause. Maybe I'll shut up a bit more. Maybe have a chat to them.
You really thoroughly put me back on the right track. I'm now wading. I'm not drowning anymore. I'm now wading and dog paddling. So things are looking better. Thank you.
Good. And that's just keep. It's your boundaries. Don't let it grow out of control. It's yours. Okay. And so remember, it needs to complement, not command your life. And as you said, a very wise woman said, it's ripe and ready for further development. But you get to choose that trajectory, darling. So you just, you're going to feel out of control some days. I do feel out of control some days, and I'm not handling anywhere near what you're handling in terms of the people and the impact. So it's okay. Just breathe. You're going to come through the other side beautifully.
Thank you so much. Love you.
You too. It's a delight.
And enjoy the rest of your birthday.
I will, darling. I'll see you soon.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Thanks for listening to the Your Next Chapter podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, please let me know. Pop over to angelaraspas.com to subscribe to the show and leave a review. And whilst you're there, you can also enjoy valuable free resources, including show notes and downloads, along with the Next Chapter community, where you can connect with other wholehearted women on the same journey as you. We'd love to welcome and support you as your next chapter unfolds. See you next time.